I mean, a unified new sphere is the ultimate form of trained humanism, so... Also why I agree with Grace.
So you would kill all the Vajra or enslave them in order to improve humanity?
I mean, it wouldn't be enslavement, it'd be actually their normal life. It's how they already operate. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back for the ultimate episode of Macross Frontier.
25th episode.
Yep. Not the last thing we'll be doing for Macross Frontier, mind you, not for a good while, actually. But the final of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Before anything else, though, before we talk about this Macross show, we have another Macross show to talk about. We have comment. Reg Tianga, I guess is how you pronounce that, from Macross 7, the formula for a love triangle. I feel that the songs affected them more / easier because the Centrati are traditionally more sensitive to stuff like music and emotions, and hence why they emphasized the Centrati backstory stuff so much in the intro. Anyway, the last time I watched this series was 20 years ago, and I didn't realize at the time that Macross 7 is basically a crossover between Macross and a super robot show, complete with the mad scientist who creates all their weapons and launches them from a base. It makes me appreciate the show more and what they are trying to do, even though the execution has been all over the place.
And that's one of the reasons why I actually don't like Macross 7. Because I came into Macross as a real robot show, not a super,
But Thunderbirds are a go.
Yeah, that was like, that's when they crossed that line multiple times. I went like, yeah, this is not for me.
And yet, not 1% of the hatred I got from Macross Plus do you get for not liking Macross 7. The more popular one, I would have thought, but...
I think there's an understanding that people who really like Macross 7, they just like it. And people who don't like Macross 7, it's like, yeah, well, we don't like it. We don't. There is, I think, well, it could be later on. People are like, well, why do you like this? This is the best thing ever. I'm like,
we existed later on, though.
Yeah, true. But the comments have to keep, catch up with us. So
I don't know. I don't remember what episode released for Macross. Well, that'd be today, wouldn't it? So let me just double check that real quick. Because I'm pretty sure we're deep enough in on Macross 7 in the release that those people should have, 32 out of 40-something, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so people that didn't like your negative takes on Macross 7 should have already been jumping down your throat. Oh well, the unfairness of popularity, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just a blank here. Even though I was the one who actually wanted to watch Macross from the very beginning.
Well, I think you wanted to watch Macross Frontier.
Yes.
And then I like, hey, you want to watch all of it? And you're like, yeah, sounds good. Because I remember, I think way back when we did a posting for suggestions on what to watch, and you put down Macross Frontier, and I'm like, there's a lot of fucking Macross. Which Macross is this? And you like posted a year, and I'm like, still fucking confused. And then somewhere down the line, I'm like, there is a lot of Macross. Maybe we should watch all of Macross.
And so far we have.
Well, I mean, we're almost done. Until they release whatever new thing that they're working on. Assuming it doesn't turn out to be a movie, in which case it would be like one and done.
Yeah. I think it might be a movie, but I don't expect it to be earlier than 2026. Maybe in 2027.
Well, maybe by then all of it will hit YouTube.
Mm-hmm. But we are, but like I said, those are the elements that I didn't like personally. It was like,
I mean, I didn't really. My only problem came with the end, like the very end. Like they didn't really finish, and then some of the extra content. Like they could have done so much more with the 30-minute movie that they had.
Yeah,
and they went the wrong way with the oh god, what was it? Macross 7
Dynamite.
Dynamite was the 4-episode OVA
thing?
thing?
With the whales.
Yeah, they did the wrong thing. Yeah, they should have done the manga. Mylene Beats.
Yeah.
Look, you're gonna get the scene no matter what, because it's in both. It
Yeah.
shouldn't have even been in the one with Bizarra because it didn't follow Mylene. So why did we need to see Mylene have that done if we're not following her, right?
Yeah.
At least in Mylene Beats, it would have, one, made sense, but two, she
Mhm.
also would have gotten her fucking ass kicked by like 2 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then had a
Still.
building collapsed on her. Like, there would have been comeback. Like, would have been a crackback. But
Yeah.
no, she gets to
Consequences.
smoke a cigarette and just, she's fine in the bizarre thing. So
Yeah.
they changed the story and not for the better. And Bizarre's whole thing doesn't fucking matter.
And the whale says just fuck off. That's what happens.
Yeah, but they also don't have any fold technology to fly back, so they're just flying back at regular speed, which means they're gonna die.
I guess.
Well, clearly not. There's a movie to be seen where they cross over. However, I don't know how Cheryl doesn't die at some point. She's currently dying, so
We should watch this episode because this episode has
well,
a
not
lot.
yet. I have a lot to go over here. So before you
Yeah.
get into pushing us to the watching a thing, I do have notes and well, let's go to the board. Because I might not have had one for Fate, which we just got done watching, but I do have the following, the board change log that I mentioned that I started doing for other stuff. Changed the green line connecting Leon and Grace to red. Betrayal. Added a green line between Cheryl and Leon, because they're now allied.
Yeah.
Added a green line between Cheryl and Luca. Equally, they're both allied, because Luca's a pissant now, apparently. Changed the green line connecting Cheryl and to Alto to purple, because they're in love openly now.
Living together and everything.
Changed the white line connecting Alto to Glass/Ozma to red, because they're on opposite sides now.
Yeah.
Changed the green line connecting Luca to the SMS line to red, because on opposite sides now. Added Ranchi, connected her to Barrera and Renka with a blue line. Added Mao Name, connected her to herself.
And her granddaughter?
You're jumping ahead. Connected Grace/Ranchi/Mao with a green line. I don't know if Mao is dead, is my problem on this one. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I don't know if she's dead or not. And it doesn't seem like Grace betrayed them. It seems like their partnerships all broke up the moment that the Vajra attacked. So in that matter, they were allies until the end, even though Grace kind of was like, oh, you're an idiot for wanting to do this thing. They were all still partnered as scientists. So, to explain that green line. Added Maruyama, connected to Alto with green line. Marked Rongshi as dead.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, we never saw Mao there. So she may have been the initial science partner that then left or whatever. So, as I said, I don't know if she's alive or dead. But yeah, Grace never actively betrayed the science partnership. In fact, it seemed like she started her vow for control or vengeance when the Vajra attacked. So, presumably, she was selfish, but not evil back then.
Well, she was saying. I mean, she got into a fight with Ranchi. It's like you're using this for something. He's like, oh, but you don't be a fool. You know, we could use.
No,
this.
she openly said it was the whole implant thing. She was talking about it openly, but she wasn't using it for evil back then. Like, it's not until the Vajra attack that you literally see her evil face, like messed up in the red lighting. Like, I can't do it. But anyway, that's the first time. Otherwise, it's like she's upset at Ranchi, who's currently sick, about protecting them or something like that. But she's not like cackling evil plot. Like the planning only comes after the Vajra attack.
Yeah.
So up until Ranchi's death, she was an ally.
Yeah, she was, and then she wasn't. Then she became a multitude.
Well, the thing is that when she's dead, her relationship doesn't really change.
I mean, if she betrayed the ideals that they were working for, then
The
maybe.
ideals are not the person. This isn't
Or
V for Vendetta.
or exploiting her daughter or her children.
Exploiting her daughter changes the relationship between her and her daughter. Ranchi is not her daughter, as much as like familial lines might tie you to people. You have independent thoughts and actions of your parents or children.
True enough.
Don't make this a Hatfield and McCoy situation.
Hmm.
Oh, your goddamn grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, rednecks. It's redneck. You might not understand.
No, I got it.
All right, my going into notes. I'm assuming you have none.
No.
See, I was hoping that you might have notes, but like clarification notes for after we watch the episode. Because assuming
I
that
have thoughts.
you're gonna jump in on shit, because that's
I
what
have
you
a
do.
lot of thoughts.
Yeah. All right. Well, this first thought I wrote like immediately after we watched the last episode, so I don't actually remember what I wrote here. But I'm prefacing that I don't remember what I wrote because it's a thought about Birdman and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think I said before that the Vajra couldn't be from the protoculture due to a statement that is made about protoculture descended fold technology and how the Vajra break that rule, which would mean that they were their own thing. Well, the revelation of Birdman being present on the ring around their world, and what we know or think we know about Birdman on our world, I propose two different theories to account for what we know about Birdman, protoculture, and general history. 1. Birdman doesn't come from the protoculture that we know, but the protoculture that fought against them. As you may recall, protoculture broke up into two factions that were fighting against one another. One side made the Centrati into evil, but we don't really know much about the other side and what it did. Birdmen may have been on their side of the war, both science ships and warships in one. 2. Similar thought that Birdman doesn't come from the protoculture that we know, but instead of the Birdmen being the other side's weapon, the other protoculture were taking a long view of things and seeded various races to advance their evolution and uplift them into the galaxy alongside themselves. That's why the Centrati were told to never encounter my clones and to destroy them on sight, as they would be the creations of the enemy faction. Just they no longer remember the original war between their creators, its participants, or why they have certain long-standing orders.
All possible routes. That's all I can say.
Have you ever read the Hichi saga?
No.
Also known as Gateway? Frederick Pohl, I believe?
No.
Prolific science fiction author. Gateway is the one where they find a asteroid orbiting Venus, and it has a bunch of alien spaceships on it, and you can't really control them. So there's the Gateway Corporation, which will pay random people to basically go on trips on these, and if you come back with evidence of alien culture, alien artifacts, etc., you can become insanely rich. The idea is that in the middle, the book is like two parts. One is like the past, where it's the main character and his adventures on Gateway, and the other half is the future, where he's talking to a therapist about his adventures on Gateway and how it's fucked up, how it fucked him up completely. And in throughout that, there are like little single-page things of like mission logs and things like that, where like pod came back damaged, burnt on outside, no one inside pod, or pod came back filled with fungus, 3 dead bodies. Tons of just never came back groups. Because there's also the idea of you don't know how long it's going to go out, where it's going to go to, so no idea how much food or water or air is going to be necessary. But you do. There's a way to tell on the journey. I guess the idea is that you're going to know how much food you're going to have. So if you get the halfway point, anyway, in the long term of that book series, we are introduced to a species called the Hichi, which discovered a universal threat or something of that nature that was coming that scared them enough that they essentially developed technology to dip into black holes to hide. And what they did
I
was
heard about this. I heard
they left
about
their
this before.
technology around a bunch of inhabited worlds, and they basically poke their head up out of the black holes every like couple 100,000 years or something like that to see what's going on. And essentially, all of the races that they seeded stuff around fucking died. Like supernova here, killed themselves off there. We're not the race that they seeded stuff for. That race died. I think it was the Neanderthals or something. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah,
something. They died off. We were prolific, and we found all of their other shit. So they just see us suddenly explode into the galaxy one day. That's the idea that I'm coming with here. That the protoculture saw a different threat, seeded life, or whoever the Birdmen were, seeded life, and we're the result.
Well, we do know that they have influenced genetically other species to look human as well. They called it the different cultures, like the one that the people with the one in dynamite, right? Because they could use like micronized.
They never mentioned the protoculture in regards to that.
They talk about it in Frontier when they say that they're multiple. Oh, we discovered up to 11 or 25 different.
Yeah, no,
societies.
I brought that up before, but they don't mention the protoculture in regard to that. They just mentioned that's how many different alien races that they found.
Yeah, but they say they're all connected to the protoculture.
They did not, because I remember I specifically made a note about it, and in regards to how many alien races were on my list before versus how many we haven't seen yet. They haven't tied any of that to the protoculture stuff. We haven't had near any protoculture references in Frontier.
No, I'm not going to go back to that episode because it'll take
forever. Well, obviously, again, I gave you a standing rule already, is that in the recording, we don't go back and research or watch old episodes or anything like that. It's too costly time-wise.
But I was going to say, I blanked out.
I just know very specifically on the point that you're bringing up about the number of species that we've come across so far, is that I brought that up in a note of my own writing. And I remember that there was no mention of the protoculture in that, because I would have mentioned the protoculture. I've got on the side of the board the whole protoculture vis-a-vis other races theory listing. I would have hooked into that.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I mean, your theories are pretty good. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Here's the funny thing, is that I know you haven't watched Delta, and I've been on the journey with you for all the rest of Macross. So, except for this episode, and I guess whatever you've seen in the movie, so you've seen one of the movies or two of the movies?
I've seen them both.
But you haven't seen the third thing, then?
I mean, the
crossover.
I haven't seen the crossover.
Yeah, the OVA movie and the crossover.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen the two movies.
When it comes to the show, though, you are, except for this episode, exactly as knowledgeable as I am right now. Except for the episode, whatever again in the movies, but I'm not going to count the movies when we're talking about the show right now. Even though it is part of the show, I can't count that because it's like literally 2-3 hours worth of extra content that we'll have gone through in January. I'm just saying right now, beyond one episode, you're no longer the expert, in my opinion. Well, I just mean for the fact that I've been keeping notes on everything, and that's helped my memory a little bit. Whereas you have been, I think, sitting back on the stuff that you think you already know. So I think I've been helped by basically writing a library from Macross. Not to mention the board is kind of helpful.
Yeah. But still, there might be some couple of things that this final episode might bring up.
Oh, no, I said besides the episode. Obviously, you know what's about to happen. And you had the many years, I guess, since this was the first Macross that you watched, to put it into context with everything that you've already seen that during our watch through. I'm just saying that your
Well,
time is coming, old
technically,
man.
my first Macross was Macross Plus.
Either way.
Yeah.
I mean, not too far from each other. I'm just saying it's still a lot of time to be able to think about all this stuff and put it into context with one another.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have that many notes to cover from the last 3 episodes. So it seems that what they're able to do now is jam the Vajra signal to prevent them from connecting to one another in order that they don't adapt to their weaponry, at least up to a range of 100 kilometers, according to Luca.
Well, using Cheryl's song, that's what they're doing.
Using one of their ships, actually. This was during episode, had to been 22, because it's the first episode that I was watching. That's why it's the first note. Where Alto, I want to say one of the new guys, his new squad mates, and Luca are out attacking a group of like 2 Vajra, and Luca is in his little spinny censorship. And those are the only people out there. Cheryl's not singing. She's actively on base still, like sick or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just something that they can do now with their technology. I guess Cheryl didn't inherit Sarah's ability to sing and heal things. Given the Frontier's bio-destabilization, that sure would have come in handy. At least to give Congress options beyond agreeing to Leon's plans. Also, maybe doing something about her own illness as well.
I mean, that condition also could have been something that was on the island itself.
Doesn't seem like it, because it was implied that nature
or part of
responsible.
Birdman. A part of Birdman.
But Birdman wasn't there when she did it.
Yeah, it was separating to half. One
was deep underwater,
and the other one was there. And the other piece that they fly off on was really by the pool. So it could have been Birdman. They literally surfed the rock to go back and try to connect with it.
Sometimes I have to think that the hardest part about science is arguing with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because obviously, you're making it harder. Well, imagine every time you're talking out a point, I went like to you.
Well, yeah, I'm trying. You're trying saying something, but I'm trying to think.
Because I'm fighting my ability to say it out. By the way, I'm not saying stop doing this. Great visual for the audience. It's hard for me because clearly that would be the most obvious thing. I feel like is that her singing has no magical powers. It's in fact her singing is activating some sort of device within Birdman that's doing it. And one, I hate the self-congratulating nature of the way you say it, though, which makes me not want to agree with you, even though it sounds so completely right. It's like, fuck that. Looks like we're going down on the wrong side of history.
Man, I don't know.
But at the same time, I also don't want it to be true because I enjoy that element of Sarah.
I mean, she still has the power to activate an ancient world-ending device, so it makes it pretty special.
Arguably world-ending. We don't know. It was like one ship with like a single laser, and I think probably the military of the world could have done something to take it down. But it takes away a bit of Sarah's uniqueness amongst the idols of the show. Like, Basara's got fucking supernatural powers. Why couldn't Sarah? It's like you're willing to take away Sarah's supernatural powers, but leave Basara with his? Is it because she's a woman? Is that why it is Lessons?
I never liked the fact that Basara
she was a woman.
No. I didn't like the fact Basara had any supernatural powers to begin with. So it's like,
but I'm just saying now you're advocating for taking the woman's powers away and nothing for Basara. Look, I'm not saying that you're sexist. I'm not. Look, literally the words that came out of my mouth, I said you're not sexist. What?
No, yeah, you're not saying. No.
Yeah, I said you're not sexist.
Yeah, no.
But seriously, though, why did you take away Sarah's powers?
I didn't. I
You
just
just did.
conceptualized it.
Literally, in the entire conversation that we've all talked about Macross Zero so far.
See, the way I would say is that you assumed that she had powers.
No, I verbally said this out loud many times, and
I said that she does,
no,
but her powers are not as extensive. Because she does have the
all of
power
our arguments,
to sing.
As for all of our arguments in the past, you never correct me up until the part where we're going to have an argument about it. Which is to say, now is the first time you're indicating, that might be Birdman's power. Which is the disenfranchise Sarah of her ability and say it was Birdman the whole time.
She still has the blood connection to the protoculture, and she's the only one. Well, her and her little sister.
Literally everybody that's a human has a connection to the protoculture.
No, because apparently it's only her bloodline. The whole thing was about her bloodline.
Do you not remember Macross 7? Mylene bled on the floor, and the thing was like, oh, it's humans and the Zentradi are together. That's the sign of the bloodline that we were looking for.
Yeah, but it was for a different perspective. It's like, oh, that's the end of the war. That's what they were looking for, not
yeah, well, technically the war has been over for a long time since the Macross 0 to Macross 7. And the war had been over for some
they don't know
hundreds of thousands of years.
Apparently, they don't know that because it's a temple buried beneath a volcano.
It doesn't matter if they know it or not. I'm just saying it's still the same bloodline representation.
No, I think they were looking for something else.
No, they were looking for, I was just saying, the bloodline doesn't really matter.
No, it matters because one activates Birdman and the other one was assigned that the Zentradi were no longer.
Assumedly, both protoculture devices, though.
Yes, but you can have two devices that look for different things, right?
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They were looking for different things.
Before, where I agree with you on the whole Sarah activating Birdman thing, as I hate to acknowledge you're right here. I don't think you're right here. I think that there's like a general programming when it comes to protoculture stuff, and it feels like it's all very generic. Also, the fact that the protoculture seems to have fucked with all of our genetics. We're all of the protoculture bloodline, technically. Unless one of those golden giants came down here and fucked very specifically Sarah's grandparents, that I don't see how she has directly the same bloodline that we all don't have. If the Birdman literally tampered with the entire human genome.
No, but the idea was, particularly in the whole thing, it was like, you can't take our blood. It's the thing. And her father's like, no, you can't let it do that. Because it was this specific bloodline of the Nomads that had a
pretty sure it was a specific bloodline of the entire island.
Well,
because remember, that was the thing for the entire island, not just... They're like, she'd go, fuck all those people. Take their blood. Leave my blood alone. Stay in my body.
Yeah. But... that was a prohibition.
Also, never really mentioned this before, but what during certain times of the months, do you think she gets real upset about the blood leaving her body? Considering how freaked out she is about regular, normal injections and whatnot. Look, I think when you're world building, you got to consider these things.
Anyway, going back to whatever point we were trying to make, or you were trying to make in your comments, in your notes, go back to that. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, I know. I was talking about Cheryl didn't inherit Sarah's ability. Well, I was trying to think where to go from there. Well, she didn't, because she's not healing people or the environment.
And I said that maybe that was not one of the abilities that she had.
That's the only ability that she had. You're implying that all of her only thing was that she had the bloodline, and that the bloodline activated Birdman. Yeah. She has no other abilities beyond her blood.
Which would be something that Cheryl would still have.
Blood is not an ability. If you don't have blood, you're dead.
But I mean, by bloodline, I mean specific genetic markers. That's what she has. And she has the ability to sing, which can... interact with protoculture devices
I mean,
and
clearly
whatnot.
not. She's actively singing right now, and Birdman ain't responding.
But Birdman is not there.
Birdman's not there. That was your whole point last episode, was that
That
Birdman
wasn't
was
my
there.
whole point. I point that there
Hey, does
was
that
a
thing look
connection.
familiar? That thing look very familiar to you? What do you mean? Birdman. And then we go into it, and Birdman's fucking there, and you're like, ha, told you. And
It's
you're
not.
like,
I didn't say that it was Birdman was there. We just see the symbol that there is a connection there.
it opened up, and Birdman was in there.
It wasn't Birdman.
Then what was it?
We're about to find out.
Sure looked like a biotechnical pod of some sort. Highly reminiscent of, I don't know, Birdman. Now, I hope you're not going to pull out some weird shit like, well, it's not shaped like a bird, so we don't call it Birdman.
What? See, that's the thing. That's why I can't talk about things, because even there's still things that this last
like I said, this is the thing
I
I find disappointing about the ones that you've seen before, is that we can't have, like, good hypotheticals going on, because you know. So, that's what I'm waiting for when we get out of that part of Mobile Suit Gundam, the UC timeline stuff that you've seen already, and we start getting into stuff that you don't know, and be like, I have no fucking idea what happens after 1,000 years, or sorry, 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
The medical center readout that the doctor is holding when talking to Cheryl about a way to slow down the progress of her illness has Shoji Kawamori written on the top.
He's one of the
I know,
main
I wikied
people.
him.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing it out. So the fact that Grace has a holograph of Renka in her current state, even though the Vajra have her, and says that a brand new world is opening up, makes me think that they've got cybernetics in Renka somehow too. The implant technology that keeps getting mentioned. That the network that Grace is connected to is also connected to Renka, so that Renka isn't just bridging humanity and Vajra, but also this new sphere of galaxy cyborgs with the Vajra. They say to unite the galaxy with instantaneous thought sharing, and then to rule the galaxy with the primary node taking over. But of course, none of that can really happen without the implants. And at that point, it really just sounds like we're talking about the Borg forcing implants on people with Grace as the Borg queen.
Pretty much. 99% of that is accurate.
I think I mentioned this at the end of Macross 7, but I think it would have been cool for a Macross show to end with the bad guys winning. It would have been unexpected, and the next show could then take over the consequences and maybe the fight back. When they introduced the idea that Grace wants to take over the Vajra as a force to destroy anyone that fights back against the implants, my first thought was, what if the Proto-Devlin had won in Macross 7? And instead of Grace going all Borg Queen in this story, this had actually been a means to fight the Proto-Devlin. Or, since I'm just pitching Elseworld stories, what if the Proto-Devlin didn't leave the galaxy and we called them back in for help? Not only are they immensely powerful, there is no greater expert in the protoculture than the people who are literally there fighting them.
To be perfectly honest, I don't want more stuff with Macross 7 or the Proto-Devlin or anything like that. They moved on. I'm happy they moved on.
I would have liked where Grace is the hero.
Well,
I mean, I didn't write this down as a note, but I'm pro Grace right now. Anyway. Well, for one thing, I would like being in the Borg if the Borg were real, so...
You would?
Well, I wouldn't, in that I would have no emotion about it one way or the other. I'd be part of a hive mind, but, I wouldn't mind being in that, because if you ever seen, like, the Voyager episodes, where they say, what's it like being in the collective? Where you're basically, like, a mass holodeck where everyone's brains are all connected.
Yeah, I don't find that very appealing.
No, I do. I mean, I like it. Also, I'll usually, like, in RPGs and whatnot, I'm pro the science, tech person.
Well,
God, I can't remember. Sanguine Games, their retro feature game where I was a Martian robot, and I basically led the Martian robot. Rode a rocket
Really?
out of the solar system where the idea was that I would, in the future, come back with a giant robot army to take over the solar system. I don't know. I am pro our AI overlords.
Okay.
I mean, I have no problem. Also, of the many different factions at play right now, what you have SMS, Rogue, Pirates.
Yeah.
You got Leon's Nuns.
Mhm.
I like these new SMS Pirates because that's a different connotation.
Yeah.
The Leon's Nuns, which just sounds like the best blitzball team.
Yeah.
Grace's Borg. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the fourth faction. Oh,
There is
Ranka's
no.
Vajra.
Yeah. Well, now they're being controlled
Well, they're
by.
not actually being controlled right now. Hasn't happened yet.
Well, she started to sing.
Who started to say?
Ranka.
Yeah, but Ranka's not being controlled. I mean, Ranka's being
No.
manipulated, not controlled. There's a
No.
difference.
She actually, her eyes just go blank and it's like,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
she actively has self-control. She had to be told by Barrera what her job was to do here. She's not being controlled, which would be Grace just forcing her to do stuff. If you have to be manipulated, you're not being controlled. Manipulation implies that you could do whatever you want. You're just highly susceptible to being told what to do.
That sounds pretty close to control.
No, okay, let me put it in terms you'll understand. The difference between being dominated and charmed.
Oh, okay.
Boom! You're a nerd.
Mind you, charmed you still kind of control. It's just that you have there's a strong sense of self-preservation versus total control versus partial control.
As I said, she's being manipulated. She's not being controlled. If being controlled, nobody would have to tell her what to do. She would just be acting on Grace's will because she'd be part of the implant network, and Grace would be the primary node. Versus right now, she is just highly susceptible to being told what to do. That's Barrera coming in saying, "This is our purpose. We've got to defend this land from blah 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 blah." So, what got us here?
Your last note?
No, you said something. And that's why I had to dispute this whole thing. Oh, the four factions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Grace's faction is the most interesting. I don't automatically have a problem with it.
I think the whole enslaving thing would be a problem for me, but
Well, it wouldn't be once you became enslaved.
I don't want to become that. That's
the
problem.
But it wouldn't matter though, because once you became enslaved, you wouldn't have the mentality to resist or fight or, generally care.
Well, I don't want that to happen, so I'm resisting now.
Yeah, right. But
I'm siding with the people that are resisting now, so that doesn't happen. That's why I don't favor her, because I don't want that to be.
My argument here is that once you fail, it won't matter.
Well, let's not fail then.
Well, arguably, you'll either get killed by a Vajra or implanted. Arguably, if we could just get the Vajra to do the implants, we could kill two birds, one stone. But it doesn't seem like they're capable of that, considering they've got no brains. Yeah, I don't know. Falling out of favor with Alto, so not in favor of the faction he's on.
Well, I'm not in favor of his faction. I'm still in favor of him, though. But not the faction.
No, not me. He is chosen poorly. Also, he's on the "I'll kill Ranka to save everybody" move, and it's I think hot take. I've forgotten the guy's name. God damn it, brain. Let me scroll up the board real quick.
Leon?
I think I would take Typhoon over Alto right now.
That's saying something.
I think I would take Typhoon from the past. I don't want English Firebomb or Typhoon right now. I would take past Typhoon because they're both kind of up their own asses about what's important.
True.
And both are kind of manipulating people around them.
Not really.
What are you talking about?
Alto knows. Who's Alto manipulating? Not Cheryl.
I would argue that he is kind of manipulating Cheryl.
No, Cheryl actually he's staying because Cheryl is already here, right? He's
Well,
doing it for Cheryl.
the difference
So
is that you're probably considering conversations that he's actively had with Cheryl. I'm talking about conversations that Cheryl has eavesdropped on that Alto has said stuff. Like when she shows up near the bridge, I guess to throw a paper airplane. But she's like around the corner listening to Alto's conversation with Clan. And in that way, she's manipulated.
Yeah, but again, that kind of requires an active participation. I'm gonna say this so that somebody else hears, so I can manipulate them. It's not like accidental manipulation. Like I want this to happen, but I'm not gonna tell the person that I want to.
I think it is accidental manipulation.
I don't think you can have accidental manipulation. Manipulation, I think, requires some level of activity and goal. Like he has to.
Okay, well, maybe the word to use here is influence.
Oh, maybe,
Influence doesn't
but
require intent. Where I can understand your argument that manipulation requires intent. You can't accidentally influence people to do the wrong thing.
Then I would go to the same argument say about control, that Cheryl misheard something or heard it and then made up her own mind and then decided to stay and support the fleet. And then Alto is saying, well, I'm going to stay with her because she's doing this.
What does that have to do with control?
Remember you said that the difference between control and manipulation was manipulation, that you still have a way out, that you can still make up your own mind.
I think the idea when I was getting there is that Grace's whole implant network thing wouldn't require her to tell Rinka to do anything. She would just do it because she'd be part of the network, versus what Rinka is currently doing requires her brother sorry, Bryler is in my head, so the two names are very close.
Right.
Requires her brother to actively convince her to do a thing. And you don't need convincing if you have direct control of the person. That's the difference I'm getting at there. So Alto's influence over Cheryl influences Cheryl to do things. And let's be fair, Kaifun has manipulation and influence.
Yeah, but he was more of a direct snake. Like, like do this, do that, come here,
Sure, but he did invoke some good things by his manipulation of Min-Mei before the end. So obviously at the end he was worse. But then again, he wasn't like, I'm going to kill Min-Mei if she does this, which is where Alto is now, which is the unforgivable part for me, because as I've said before, I believe Rinka is in the position she's in because Alto is an idiot. I mean, that doesn't require explanation. Alto is an idiot. He shoved Rinka away. Like, the most relatable aspect for me was when Rinka is so excited and running up the stairs to see Alto, and Alto is there with Cheryl, and she's like fucking hurt. And she's like, I hate this. I want to die. It's like, oh, that's human. I get that.
Yeah, well.
And Alto did that, so fuck Alto. I've been pro Rinka the entire time. Oh, I was pro Cheryl at the beginning because of the Name lean that I have. But fuck Cheryl. I mean, anyway, yeah, no, I've been pro Rinka the entire time. Ever since, I want to say, like, the first... God, when did my point of view on the show start really shifting? How many episodes in did they go to that Zentradi base?
I mean, that's episode 12, I think, 11, 12.
Yeah, I was going to say episode 10, but 12 is probably then about, like, when she comes flying in, singing and dancing, and then it's really the uptick of the Rinka movement and the downturn of Cheryl as the Galaxy Fairy.
So you go with whatever the masses want. Okay, I got it.
Well, most of the time I'd actually do. Because as it turns out, most people like the same thing because it's good.
No, I think people just like things.
I think a lot of people are also just contrarian, who just want to enjoy other things because they won't want to be what the other people are doing. But you know what? It's also more convenient to like the things the other people like because there's going to be more of it. Because it's going to be mass produced for everybody. As I said, I want to be part of the Borg. You don't have to tell me that I'm wrong because I like the same things a lot of other people like. When I said I want to be part of the herd, the herd is where everything's good.
When your parents brought if there's a cliff, you're like, yes, there's a cliff. That was your reaction when they started. If other people are like, yes, there's a cliff.
Before you
There's a
finish,
cliff, and I'm
before
gonna
you
jump.
finish this lessons, you finished it without me anyway. I was going to say many families go to the Grand Canyon every year, so yeah, a lot of people say, "Ooh, cool, a cliff."
No, but I'm talking about the jumping part.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to get there before you finished, but at the same time, a lot of families, so the masses in general, do enjoy visiting cliffs. Cliffs are cool.
Oh yeah, they're cool. The jumping off them, on the other hand,
a lot of people do jump off cliffs, by the way.
Yeah, hopefully with parachutes.
Well, no. Otherwise, typically you jump in from a cliff into the water.
Or water, though.
Yeah, I mean, typically.
Otherwise. I
mean, everyone knows the White Cliffs of Dover, for example. Those are also pretty cool to look at.
You only get to jump the cliff once, and then, oops.
Well, no. I mean, there's that woman who fell at, 28,000 feet and landed in it was the Amazon? And managed to still crawl her way to safety. So you can survive these things more than once.
Don't count on it, though.
No. Yeah, I'm not recommending.
The odds are very long indeed.
Don't watch this video.
That person survived.
Don't watch this video and take our non-scientific approach to this. I mean, hopefully you didn't pause the video mid-flight and now are jumping out.
There's a lady in a wheelchair. It's like, you shouldn't jump. But you survived, so yeah.
I don't think she's in a wheelchair. I think she's actually fine.
I mean, you know what I'm saying. It's like, oh,
well, to be fair, we just described the woman who's an actual real-life woman who did this, and you just suddenly put her in a wheelchair. So it's like, I don't think she is. Maybe she is. I don't know. I'm just saying, to my recollection, she came out of it fine. I mean, obviously, lots of pain and suffering, but I mean, at the end of the story.
Yeah. He made it.
Right.
I would not counsel other people to do that.
Well, no one's canceling. Well, you are actually, because you're describing how I'm jumping off of cliffs. You're advising me to jump off a cliff because I like doing what other people do. You're in fact saying, do you like what the masses do? Well, I guess, do you side with 51% of the population on anything? Jump off a cliff.
No, that's the opposite.
Here's the thing. If I agree with the populace opinion and you're disputing my opinion because it's populous and suggesting that I must enjoy jumping off of cliffs, you're suggesting that the larger side of the population should also jump off of cliffs. Attacking one of us is clearly attacking all of us.
Okay, sure.
The added benefit of being in the populace.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
I don't even remember what we're talking about. Are we still on the Grace's faction thing?
Oh, you went over to a tangent about you not liking Cheryl and you're liking Ranka.
Typhoon over Alto.
Yeah.
Alto is a better character, but when it comes to his opinions on things, I would rather talk to Typhoon than Alto.
Oh, he gets to punch people, flying people on the dick, so...
Well, yeah, Typhoon's a movie star. Alto is a kabuki star. I think I'd have more things to talk about with Typhoon. Also, Typhoon goes on to manage a rock band. Alto might kill his previous love interest, so...
There you go.
Who, by the way, ran away crying because he hurt her so bad by constantly going to the other woman and never answering her calls, by the way. They said he's a dick.
I mean, that's the thing about love triangles. Somebody's going to get hurt. If he went with Ranka, then Cheryl would have been running away.
I keep saying this, but he's worse than Hikaru. And you're like, yeah, but Hikaru keeps double timing. Oh God, Misa! It's been so long since I brought up Misa. Yeah. Well, it's been so long since I thought about Misa directly.
He set up a date with
the scarf
her
thing. Yes, I know, and then he left her there. But at the same time, at least he answered her phone calls. Also, you know what? Ranka set something up, and then he set Michael. So, not for nothing, sort of the same thing. But at least, he picked up the phone when Misa called. Ranka's sometimes it's in a fucking emergency, and he's back to bed. You know? He's a dick. He's worse than Hikaru.
Hmm.
You're like, oh yeah, the scarf thing. Ranka shows up with Cheryl in his arms. I think that's worse.
She tripped. He's the we said this again. It's like, oh, Ranka, what's up? Boom,
Look,
she hits the floor.
There's a difference. There's a difference between she tripped and fell to my arms and the, I don't know, 3 minutes of close contact that follows.
You were not counting it by the clock. Come on.
I could. It's not like I have a recording timer constantly going.
I imagine Ranka running, right? And it's like, I'll just like, oh, Ranka. And she goes, and Cheryl goes like, wham, hits the floor. Like, oh, sucks to be you then. Hey, what's up, Ranka?
Yeah, there's a difference between, oh, are you okay? Catching them and then holding them up and putting them, versus, we're in an embrace. Like, imagine the last time, like, one of your housemates fell over and then you were, like, in a loving embrace.
I don't think it was a loving embrace, but, it's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, well, clearly, if it could be misconstrued from a third party on the outside, like, I don't know. I don't know how many people you live with. I'm just saying, like, imagine one of your housemates fell over and you're like this, and someone else opens the door, like, oh, I'll give you guys the time alone. Like,
I'll go like, no, which is what happened. He's like, no, wait a minute. It's not what
they don't. They don't break apart. She's like, freaks out and runs away, and for a moment, they're still holding on.
Because I guess they also freaked out as well. I was like, oh, what the shit?
Because they wanted to be there. It wasn't just a trip and fall. It was a calculated move because Cheryl is also a bitch. Very awkward thing to say out loud.
Now that I know,
it's made this reaction show really awkward for a long time.
Oh, boy. See, this is really why I wanted you to watch Frontier.
Yeah, I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad it's not a lot more R-rated or anything. But my point is that she is very manipulative. And I don't like that combination either. Like, Minmay wasn't that manipulative. Misa wasn't that manipulative.
No.
Yeah, she's like the worst of all the love triangle segments that we've gotten in these shows. I mean, you could make an argument that maybe, well, no, because he wasn't actually guilty of SA, so he wasn't as well, but he was hostile. I don't know. Sorry, when we get into the inverse love triangle that is Macross Plus, where the other element's 2 men, and how men can be, it's kind of it's a difficult tell. I think Cheryl's still probably the worst. And I don't give her sympathy because she's dying.
No,
technically, she's been dying for a long time. Well, take it from me. I got no sympathy for people that are dying. Have we gotten past the Grace faction thing yet?
No, we have not.
I still side with Grace on this one. Look,
I disagree.
We have no idea what her plans are for after she takes over the No, that's not a plan. That if I take over the primary node, I'm going to have full control over everybody is not a plan. That is a step to a plan. What do you do with full control? It's like any like mustache twirling bad guy. I'm going to take over the world. And then what? What do you mean? What do you do with the world when you take it over? I don't know. I just want to take over the world. I want the world to be mine. The world will be mine. I'll take it over. But then what? What's your plan for the world? Right? You can't say that Grace's plan for the galaxy is control.
If her plan was so great, she wouldn't need to take over the galaxy. Just sell us on the idea. I'm like, okay, let's do that. That's a good idea.
Well, except for people like you that'll fight tooth and nail to not be controlled, when control is clearly a necessary part of the plan.
It wouldn't be if that's a good idea what she wants to do.
Except for the fact that we have plenty of people today that agree on things that need to be done and then can't figure out how to do the thing. So
at least you pitch the idea of, I have good plans. What are they? why don't you become my slave first, and then we'll talk about
It's
it. That
easier to
doesn't-
ask forgiveness than permission.
when the forgiveness is, I cannot literally forgive you because you will. It's not sincere because you will command me to forgive you. Yeah,
I mean, you don't know. Could let you go someday,
yeah.
and then you
I'm
could
a
forgive me.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, it depends. Then maybe I won't let you go.
Well, there you go.
I
I
have
can't
no idea
forgive you.
what level of control there is in the mind thing. Like, if I could think into your own mind, will this person forgive me if I let them go? Says no. All right, not letting them go. Only let go of the people who will forgive me.
Anywho,
That's why they call us the Unforgivables. Brylar thinks fold waves break causality, and his ring has an image of Minmay in it that he seems infatuated with. I was almost tempted to draw a purple arrow between him and her, because who knows? Interstellar would say that he's right, but I guess I should wait and see. He could be wrong.
I mean, his big revelation is that he's just the first. Well, not first generation Centrati. He's of that generation of Centrati that got taken over. Who encountered culture, right? And he's still obsessed with Minmay. So he wants to see her again because she disappeared with the Mega
Well,
Road
again, he says that fold waves break causality, though, implying that
So
he could send stuff to the past.
maybe not, figure out where she is and stop her from disappearing. I guess that's what he wants to do.
Well, it depends on. That depends. That's too much. There's too much, right? Are you going? Because it feels like you're going Steins Gate level of breaking causality, which is we can send information only into the past. I kind of feel like he means to go back into the past.
Yeah,
Because a fold wave is also the means of transportation, also communications. So you're saying he could prevent her from going missing, which is to say, send her a message: "Hey, don't leave on this day." Versus
or
just going back in time.
Jump back in time, and
Well, I think the fact that we live in this timeline implies that it's not true.
unless we are talking about divergent timelines.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. We're in this timeline.
Mm.
The only way, the problem is that you can't. Well, you can, but I think it's too complicated for Macross to do. The only way you can't do a divergent timeline with an ensemble cast unless all of them go onto the same timeline. Right? You can do a divergent timeline in Back to the Future because Doc and Marty are in the same car, right? Versus this, you can't leave somebody in one timeline and then have somebody follow the other timeline, because I don't think Macross could handle the complexity of trying to show us two different timelines where things might not be that different from one another.
Yeah. It could be just sending a message, but either way, it could change things. Or maybe not. It doesn't really change anything because this is a different fleet that went somewhere else, right? Well, I guess it would change that if he succeeded, then he wouldn't have to do
Minmay
this.
didn't go. Minmay would have been on Earth.
Yeah. And
so I don't know why she even vanished.
Yeah.
I assume she died of old age.
No,
or, post-war radiation cancer.
She went with. In fact, in 2012, she's literally seen packing her bags because she joins the Mega Road and she's waving from the Mega Road. Yeah. She's waving from the Mega Road.
Well, she's waving from the stage beneath the Mega Road.
Yeah, but she is in the Mega Road.
No, I'm not arguing that she's not on. I'm not arguing she's not on the Mega Road. I'm just arguing where she's waving from. Mega Road had no outside ports or anything. She's on the stage before the Mega Road launches.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's wrong, obviously.
Yeah, but that's what he's hoping for. He's infatuated.
Here's the thing. There's too much that could get fucked up if he's right. Because that would mean Macross Delta could just be the next Macross 7. Because what the fuck do we do if with fold waves, the thing that we do all the goddamn time, breaks the time stream? The Macross Delta is like, what, time police? Macross time police? Gotta go back in time and stop people from messing with time?
Back in time.
Well, I know you and me both watched the same guy who just Star Trek reviews. Did you see his memory gamma thing the other day?
Yeah.
That same idea. I know I posted that. I mean, I'd watch a Star Trek show for people who go back in time to stop time breaches and whatnot. Seems like a cool idea. I don't think it's good for Macross. I think it's good for Star Trek because Star Trek's done time travel before.
I think that was going to be a spinoff of the original series called Gary Seven's show, but it never happened.
I've seen the Gary Seven. I would say promo. It's not promo. There was an episode.
Yeah.
With the cat that turns into a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, and also the episode of Star Trek where they go back and help him stop. What was it? Nuke launch?
No, I think you're talking about the astronaut one.
Well, the Enterprise goes back in time. That's where they meet Gary Seven, and it turns out he's got all these extraterrestrial powers. And I think he stops like a nuke from launching or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway, the idea that Brylar being right would fuck up the world too much because there's a difference between sound force and sound waves, which is like we need this very special technology to have this done, so it doesn't show up everywhere because we need that. Versus Brylar with his, remember the fold wave stuff, that stuff we use for everything, that literally every technology we have it depends on. That'd be too big. We couldn't move forwards knowing that we could break causality anytime. That'd be like, I don't know, slingshotting around the sun to go back in time. Something anyone could do. I think Renka's song that got Vajra fighting again is also a callback to the songs she was singing in the concert when Alto broke her heart. As was indicated then, the songs were all about her feelings for him. The songs she's singing for the Vajra are all about the time that they first met, first locked eyes, first touched. I gotta believe it's still being directed at Alto, even though he's an idiot that doesn't serve this. Sorry, I think I meant to say doesn't deserve this, but I wrote serve for some reason.
I agree.
All right, you joined the Alto's an idiot train.
Yeah, I still like him, though.
Well, you shouldn't.
Still do, though.
Well, you shouldn't.
And I say you shouldn't like, the child murderer, but you still do, so, you know.
God, which one? Oh, you.
No, Isaac.
I'm not the one who went to a nursery to feed up kids.
Oh, God, no.
It's part of the canon now.
Yeah, I know.
Man, when we make a video game and we've got like multiple outfits for the Lessons character, one's like you in like a Ryuki, but with like pacifier necklace, maybe? I don't know. For all the babies that you killed.
No,
it's a weird Vietnam callback for some reason.
No.
Well, okay, it could be that, or it could be a string of baby teeth. I don't know. Which one do you think is worse?
Babies don't have teeth.
No, baby teeth. Yeah, first teeth. Like it. True. They wouldn't have baby teeth yet. Pacifiers, maybe. I guess is a better call. Or bibs. Maybe you don't have a key made like Ryu. So maybe your whole key is bibs. Bibs strapped together.
Stop. That's too morbid. That's too much.
So, any final thoughts?
No.
Seriously, after all of that, you got nothing else to say about the show?
No, because my final thoughts are after the final.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I still don't get the giant hologram thing. Like, there's no purpose behind it. Oh, I don't know why I completely forgot about SMS. For some reason, I was hoping Macross 7 was showing up.
遅いぞオズマ。
すまん、野暮用があったんでな。
オズマ少佐。
バカモン。隊長と呼べ、スカルスリー。
スカルスリーって隊長。
我々は帰ってきた。ギャラクシーの野望を、グレイス・オコナーとそれに組みする者たちの野望を潰すために。ギャラクシーだと。そうだ。我々は踊らされていたのだよ。奴らの陰謀とそれに加担する者によって。何を根拠にそんなたわごとを。証拠なら。証拠ならある。
What is it, though? As you previously said that you didn't have any evidence.
Mm-hmm.
俺は見た。あいつの正体を。
I think that's hearsay? It's one person's opinion?
あれはなんかじゃない。あのまやかしを撃て。
艦長。
Oh. I was gonna say, why would your beam hit a hologram?
Yeah.
王子らにやられたはずでは。三島大統領閣下。後ほど詳しく伺おう。
Also, how ineffectual was your beam? You did no damage to the galaxy.
大統領はバシラにやられたのでは。私は。
覚悟なさいレオン。
It's very helpful that the Vajra also fire bullets, because you need to blame them for everyone's deaths.
バレちゃったわね。
意外にやるもんだね、あの少年たち。
構わないわ。今だけは。
A little less hot than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
艦長、バトルギャラクシーより熱源多数射出されました。これは。
I think Battle Galaxy is a lot cooler of a name than Battle Frontier. In fact, I think Battle Galaxy sounds like the expansion to Battle Frontier.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes.
スカル3よりスカル4へ。ハルト先輩、聞こえたら応答せよ。
ルカ、クラン隊。
さあ、受け取れると。貴様の期待だ。
了解。スカル4よりバトルフロンティア。
I got the far superior force to just let you do this.
今度こそ何かを助け出す。だからお前の力を貸してくれ。お前の歌であいつの目を覚ましてやってくれ。
I mean, it'd be easier if I had my earring amplifying my song, but I gave that to you for some reason.
ハルト。行くわよみんな。
Look at a Final Fantasy X Macross Frontier crossover. The whole song sphere thing and the fact she changes her
Yeah.
clothes every time she sings.
お前の心の叫びが。
助けて。
思わざれば花なり。思えば花ならざりき。
As far back as you went, I think you would have broken your wrist.
Yeah. Still.
感じるままに。
He gets an upgrade. Last second upgrade.
Yeah, 'cause it's an anime.
Usually you get in. Isn't that a Love Heart? Isn't one of the what's his
Basara's
name?
Firebomber.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you listened to Firebomber before. We already covered he's a Firebomber fan. Great, more names to add to the board.
Those are the drones. The name of the drones.
かつてマクロスシティを恐怖の底に。
Music coordinator.
その力を。ユダシステム。リリース。
I I think the folly of this is she's not being broadcast. Cool
think she
looking
is.
performance, but no, because there's no one to broadcast it at. She's being, I mean, the audio is. Because the Vajra hear the noise, but like she's giving it like a full visual thing, and no one can see it.
目を覚ませランカお前の歌を本当の歌を取り戻すんだ
Ah, my brother gave me that. Unless the implant device was in the harmonica.
つながった 何これ強烈なフォールド波が今までとは桁違いですしてるフォールドウェーブ急速展開
But to establish that giant pumpkin looking node network thing.
ギャラクシーめ一体何を
感じるわ
これが星座これが銀河
Yeah, that's what it's doing.
リトルクイーンなど不要僕らは
全てを手に入れた
Which I guess at the moment only affects the Vajra because like the implants aren't everywhere.
全宇宙を手に入れたプロトカルチャーズがその力を恐れ憧れついには神格化してその姿を持ちた超時空生命体バジュラの力によって
If that was true, then technically the proto-Devlin are out there somewhere feeling this.
I mean, we don't know if they went back to her to their own.
Well, she used the word universe, so it's like hard to tell. But if they went back, then the evil should be feeling this.
クイーンとダイレクトに接続した我らに歌など無意味さあひれ伏しなさい
Conceivably, the space whales should be feeling this.
我が力に生きなさいバジュラ我が身我が手足その強靭な爪とともに
That sucks to be you, Macross fleet that we know. Whoa, hey, Eden. Now would be a good time to bring back a Macross Plus character. Oh no, it's Macrossity. You know, pointedly. Oh, all the background shadows. I would say pointedly, now that all the Vajra are connected together, they should have all the resistances of all the Vajra. Because being connected is how they earned their resistances to all the damage types. I feel like I'm playing Magic the Gathering.
ごめんねランカちゃんハルト
I told you the hair color was unnatural. You mocked me. It was true.
もうダメなの
Sorry, this is Gurren Lagann. That's what the music would start playing. Okay, some of those are just running into things.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder if it's
Well.
going to be the power of love and song that saves the day. Or will it be something else?
なんか
生きてる音優しい音
いいぞランカ
Who would have guessed? Yeah, he was dominated. All they had to do was get hit once. That's what brings domination.
Well, the cybernetics.
What he has all throughout his body, because we've seen his arm get tore open, and it's still cybernetics. Thank God you knew that my left eye was where the mind control device was. Kind of wish she was singing My Boyfriend is a Pilot, though. Yeah, literally, you heard her singing when you got here. I don't actually understand this, though. Grace has, like, literal control over everything, so how is Renka's song overpowering her when Renka's song couldn't overpower them when she got here originally?
No, but she's a little queen, though.
Didn't matter. Also, are you
I mean,
there?
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Wait,
She
it does
originally
matter.
should not. You should have asked this question a minute ago when I told you. She
Yeah.
arrived in the system, and her song didn't overpower the Vajra that were there by themselves. They went hostile on her, took her captive, and took her. Her song didn't matter then. So why does it matter now? Calling her Little Queen didn't change anything when she got here.
No, she.
Fuck off. Sorry, I'm having to deal with this with Mushoku Tensei 2, where it suddenly went harem on me. Was her hair color the infection the whole time?
Probably.
By the way, I was gonna kill you a minute ago. Hey, it's the opening of the show. I love the song when I heard it in Spy Kids.
This is why I love. This is my favorite song of all Macross so far.
Well, you know, I'll really hear it when I'm doing my notes, when I can actually hear music and whatnot. Sounds like somebody drew like a smiley face on her stomach with a crayon. Isn't this the opening song?
It's in the third half. That becomes the opening song. Yeah.
I said we've heard this before.
Yeah.
Because very specifically, they do the duet in the opening.
Mm-hmm. Which is referring to this.
Well, I just mean that you've been hearing the song that you like the most through the openings. Following in a long tradition of the sword thing being stronger than the massive gun.
And my boyfriend's a pilot.
It's an homage. Yeah, you mean Island 1 that was being used as a massive weapon to assault the planet, a colony drop, if you will?
The Vajra sacrifice themselves to save Island 1.
But it shouldn't have.
Why not?
They remember Island 1 was being sent into a colony drop the planet by Leon's plan.
Yeah.
So it's
well, not
literally
colony drop. It was not, they were not meant to colony drop.
They said
were
to
meant
hit the
land.
planet with it. No, Island 1, no, the rest of them were meant to land. Island 1 is meant to hit the planet. It's supposed, that's why they put all their power into it. It's supposed to be like a giant bomb.
No, the people are all on Island 1. They're supposed to land and colonize.
The plan that they said like 2 episodes back was that they were going to hit the planet with Island 1 as a giant bomb to take out the Vajra Queen or whatever it was.
No, they were going to take out the Island Queen, and the
Argue with
island
me
would.
after.
Yeah.
Remember, you've seen it. I'm talking over it, but I'm only talking on the parts I can.
得体の知れない人類からフォールド波の通じる私を助け出そうとしてくれてたの。だけど私とは違うシェリルさんの歌声を感じることで私たちが一人一人違うんだってちゃんと気持ちを伝えなければ分かり合えない生き物なんだってやっと分かってくれたの。
It's not really a they, though.
だから
Be it.
みんな抱きしめて銀河の果てまで
Because, I mean, they already implied that the Vajra is like one intelligence. It's like one giant
Yeah.
brain. So it's
Yeah.
not that they thought, it's the Vajra it thought.
Is good. Yeah. That's familiar.
Yeah, hope we don't use that in the commercial later. So did she sing her sickness away? Is that what I saw earlier?
No, it was she Ranka cured her because she had control over the virus that was killing her.
Of course.
全軍バジラに続け。
Yeah, but your main cannon did shit to the galaxy before, so. It's like we see a monster every season, I think. So we don't even have to call in authority to use nukes anymore. I think it's probably my favorite song. What about my star? Of this show, I mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't beat Light to Light for me. Oh, we're gonna defeat them the same way that we defeated Golk.
They're doing a mix of all the music in the entire series. I love it.
なぜわからないのこれが人類進化の究極の姿よ
Agreed.
が進化だ。バジラを犠牲にするくせに。
I mean, a unified new sphere is the ultimate form of transhumanism, so. Also, why I agree with Grace.
So you would kill all the Vajra or enslave them in order to improve humanity?
I mean, it wouldn't be enslavement, it'd be actually their normal life. It's how they already operate.
バジラはお腹で
It's not all the Vajra, by the way. It's one Vajra. It's one you being.
この虫けらどもは
お前たちに繋がれていてよくわかったどこまで行っても人は一人だ
だから我らは
The Grimlock and ending, man.
だけど一人だからこそ
We once had someone far greater than us.
誰かを愛せるんだ
I Unnecessary.
Yeah. Time to go.
Assuming you don't have another clone chamber somewhere. Because, I mean, I would assume that Grace has a backup of everything. Well, that was weird, said Macross 11. Shouldn't have gotten rid of our automated drones, said Macross City. Wait a second. Is this show going to do the same thing Macross 7 did and just end in the just after the fight?
これがバジラの星。
ねえ、バジュラがコミュニケーションする必要のない生き物なら、この歌何だったのかしらね。
あれはね、
ランカ。
あれは恋の歌よ。恋？バジュラが何万年、いいえ、何億年かに一度他の銀河に住む群れと出会い、交配するために呼びかける。
Cool, so they can say hi to the Proto-Devlin for us.
愛も愛もあなたあなたって。
Like a scene from Subnautica.
ランカちゃん、
Without the battleship, obviously.
シェリルさん。
Hey, at least I survived. 'Time to go back to my life in Kabuki.
これが空。シェリルとランカが開いてくれた。
So much less limiting than that space. Oh, so they're just gonna leave it like untold what he does.
バカが飛んでくわ。
シェリルさん、
How about we get married?
負けま
Fuck
せん。
him.
歌も恋も。
受けて立つわ。
シェリルさん、ここから
Mind you, he's already living. I'm already living in his apartment, and we already had sex. But sure, whatever.
So it is the Macross 7 ending. Hey, she made it. Hey, Luca, you remember when you sided with Leon the entire fucking time? Scot-free!
Only got a few scars. And that was Macross Frontier.
Well, I mean, it still is. There's more to go.
No. I mean, they're talking about the main series.
Well, I'm hoping that the movies answer questions that the show didn't answer.
Like?
Well, for one thing, it's less answered about the love triangle than even SDF Macross did.
SCF answered the SCF Macross did answer the.
That's what I
the
said.
triangle.
They answered it less than SDF Macross did, which was
that's a viable criticism of the series.
well. To be fair, all criticism is viable.
I mean, if it's
You might
completely
disagree.
out of the blue.
No, I mean you might disagree, but it's still my criticisms are my criticisms. You can't take it away from me.
I think more and more valuable in that they're better informed. If you pull something out
Again,
of
your
ass,
value of my criticisms are on you. I can still criticize however I please.
oh, you can do whatever you want.
That's what I'm saying. My criticisms are my criticisms. You can value or devalue them on your own priority, but that has nothing to do with me either.
Okay. So, yeah, that's one of the things that even when I watch it back, it's like, oh, yeah,
There's an element. There is an element of the ending which is extremely reminiscent of Macross 7. It just Macross 7 ended, I think, like a minute and a half earlier than Macross Frontier did, in that we're still pulling people out of the jets and whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas here we got like a minute and a half of flyby and everybody else. Like there's people in Macross 7 that we didn't even pan across to see that they were still around.
Mm-hmm.
To the argument that we were having in the middle of the episode, though.
Yeah.
Renka shows up with her brother.
Mm-hmm.
Too close to Brylar, I'm never going to get it right. And she starts singing at them. And they go hostile. Right? Her singing does not have the control over them anymore. She even flies out to Ai, and she's like, Ai, tell them that. And then Ai goes red-eyed and grabs her, goes flying off, because they're no longer under her control or swayed by her song. And then nothing changed, and somehow her singing is taking over control from Grace, who has full control over the queen.
I think the issue is that it wasn't simply the singing. She had to believe in what she was doing. And it's not at that moment she was like half-assed, she was half-assing it. When she fully embraced and understood what was going on, that's when the singing had power, right? Because she even goes to Cheryl and, virtually slaps her across the face, like, stop it, and he's able to even cure her. It's like, she didn't have the level of control. She was like, yeah, I want to do this, but, but when she got out of the control of Grace, he's like, I know what I got to do. I understand what's going on, and I'm going to do it, right? She takes full agency, right? Before she was bouncing back, oh, Alta did this, my brother told me that. People are, the president wanted me to do this. She was doing other people's bidding, right? Now she's fully in control. Because I think that's her story. Her story is Ranka goes from being a child who just does what she's told because she's a child to a young woman that embraces her own future. In fact, she even turns to Cheryl and goes like, well, guess what? I haven't given up on Alto yet, And Cheryl's like, okay, fair enough, right? She wouldn't have said that before. When she didn't say that when she saw Cheryl, she didn't, protest to Alto, was like, what the fuck are you doing with that woman or whatever, right? She just turned around away and ran. And
I mean, she said, I hate this. This hurts.
Yeah, but she never said it to him. He's like, I just,
She said it in front of him, facing him.
Yeah, but that could be interpreted in like, oh, I'm in a moment of crisis, and he's like, oh, well, you gotta put it together.
I think if you couldn't put it together, you're an idiot. Like I said, Alto is. Sorry,
Alto's
you've also mitigated the start of the subject matter to a different subject line. Like, I don't disagree with this is the story of Ranka, but it doesn't answer the original. Why does her music start to work? Because
she's now fully in control.
So
she
has
fully
authority.
She challenges it.
With what? Why is it that
raw willpower, basically?
So,
because that's ultimately what this is.
It's her technology versus willpower. I don't understand. Historically, I believe John Henry loses that fight.
And she's connected to the Vajra on a biological level that Grace doesn't. Remember when she said that the Vajra came to save her?
Isn't Grace actually at the end connected biologically? Isn't that what all that little shit all over her is?
Yeah, but her control ultimately is, she's using her cybernetics to control that, using her body to do that. Like, Ranka basically has been part of the Vajra for far longer without even knowing it.
I
She's
don't
one
know
of
that
them.
that matters, though. Again, this feels
You
like it's
see-
suddenly turned in my head into like a John Henry versus the steam engine sort of thing, which is to say, John Henry loses that fight. I don't care how long you've been doing it or expertly you've been doing it. Grace literally has brain control over the whole thing. It's their whole thing
Well,
is how
John
high
Henry
tech
wins the fight, but dies at the end. That's what happens.
I think they consider that losing. I don't think that every railroad worker wants to die to beat the steam engine.
And also, she also has the help of Cheryl when she cures her. Cheryl joins her, and
Well, arguably, the Vajra are already fighting on Renka's side by the time Cheryl joins, which is already the point of argument that I'm having. That she didn't need Cheryl. I mean, Cheryl helps, but I'm saying that the Vajra already start turning.
Yeah, but not all of them, and they were still attacking. So she was still controlling a lot of them.
There's also a part of the action scene that I didn't particularly like, where they're not showing what they're fighting anymore. It's just like Alto and gang spraying circles. But are they fighting the Vajra that are still on Grace's side? Is it the fighting?
I think she's fighting
Is it the fighter
drones.
jets from the
Galaxy? From the Galaxy.
But you just said I think, implying you don't know either. That's bad animation.
It's bad editing. That's what it is.
It's like, are all the Vajra on their side now? It's like, what are they still fighting? Are they shooting at good Vajra? Are they still anti-Vajra humans? What's going on? So, very confusing in that setup, too.
I think the one problem I would say goes to your confusion is that they did a thing that anime usually does, many modern anime, which is literally leave it to the last minute possible to have hey, we're turning around. Like, yeah, it creates tension on the episode, but then it's like, it's very difficult to keep up with the context. It's like, okay, who's doing what, where, why, how, right? It's like, because you have to cram it into the very last minute. And also that's why you have that sequence at the end where it's like, oh, everybody's happy, but okay, do we see the repercussions?
Well, the problem also is that if your implication is true and that it's like a battle of wills that won the day, typically you have a visual for a battle of wills. Some sort of energy beam thing is typical of an energy. And in fact, we've got giant holograms, and they're not using that to represent, a battle. I know it'd be trite and not very cool, but you could have giant hologram Grace are wrestling with giant hologram Renka as a visual of who's winning this battle of wills. And we don't really get anything to visualize it. It's just some Vajra are turning ways and some Vajra are attacking, and there's way too many Vajra for this visually to mean anything to me about who's winning. So
I think the ones that are pink are under control. Like the ones that have they're pink muted colors.
I saw more like a white when the wave goes over them and they change colors, but those are also the ones that Grace took over.
Yeah, those are the ones that Grace over. But when Ranka starts sending control, they turn back again to their deep red as well.
Right, but again, there's too many of them, so you can't keep track of that. It's like
that's true.
Wave.
It is usually confusing, yeah.
Well, that's my problem, is that it's not. It's hard to be 100% satisfied. When I know people are like, well, you never shut the fuck up during it, so of course you didn't figure it out. I can talk and see at the same time. Thankfully, I don't run into trees while I'm talking to friends walking down the road, right? It's not a situation that most humans are able to do. I guess in this respect, there's elements that I think Macross 7 does better, in that there's only one villain really to keep track of, and then you have the ensemble cast is trying to handle the one villain. Even the bad guys are like, oh no, our boss has turned bad. Kind of go Saturday morning cartoon on that one. But I mean, in the way of things to keep track of, I was 100% sure that I 100% knew what was going on in the final Macross 7 battle, even though it was still all of space, basically. Right?
Yeah.
Versus this, which is why are they doing that? How did she take control of this? Who are they shooting at? It's I'm having a problem here conceptually and visually about what's going on.
Okay, I think the reason they did what they did was, and this goes something I've been trying to say for a very long time. One of the things I really like about Frontier is that the aliens are truly alien. right? They're like instantoids, and they have this sort of communal mindset, and their technology, such as it is purely, well, mostly biological, right? They're not just a variation of humanity,
I mean, they're
right?
slivers
Yeah.
from Magic the
And
Gathering. I mean, you're familiar with
yeah,
slivers, right?
yeah,
Yeah, they're slivers.
and
Well, their slivers meet
and
that giant forest, that
Mhm.
the oldest living creature on Earth. That forest that looks like a bunch of separate trees, but they're actually one giant mega tree.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, they're not truly alien. You can wrap your head around what they are.
No, but they're alien compared to everything we've seen in Macross before, right? Of course, they can't be truly alien because otherwise we wouldn't have a show because we wouldn't understand them.
Oh no,
There's
you
no hope
can.
to
I mean,
understand
you
them.
can still. There's plenty of good sci-fi series with like aliens we just couldn't fucking understand, and that's like the main impetus of the show. Is like, what the fuck do they want? Why are they here? They're like fourth, fifth dimensional creatures. Where the fuck are they? We don't even understand how to interact with them.
Yeah, but here, Macross is all about bridging those differences, right? It was the centrality in humanity. It was, AI and humanity.
Oh yeah,
in
we really
Macross
bridged
Plus.
that difference.
Yeah, well, at least attempting to anyway, or the bridging the differences between people in the case of the triangle in Macross Plus.
It's always a triangle.
Yeah, in Macross 7, again, in the end, it was convincing the what's his name, the proto devil, that there was another way, that they didn't have to, and giving the other way to live their lives without having to feed on the entire galaxy or enslaving people. Here is the Vajra actually intended to do good because they saw, oh, one of us has been captured. We want to rescue them. That's Ranka, right? And if they had gotten Ranka, they would have left and never, mess with humanity again, right?
Well, no, that's not true. We saw in the past that Ranka's song brought them, and that's when they attacked Macross. I forgot what the name of that ship was.
The Global.
Yeah, sorry, I thought it had a number attached to it too. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
but they
no,
were looking
in
for
the
Ranka.
memory from like 2 episodes back, we see that they attack everything. They don't just go to pick up Ranka; they attack everything in the path.
Because they think these are the people who are holding her hostage.
Well,
Right?
no, I'm saying
That's what they think.
you were just saying they would take Ranka and go, and I'm telling you, or reminding you, or the audience, whoever, that they attacked everything in their path. They didn't just grab Ranka and go. They weren't peacefully showing up to take Ranka. They were taking
Yeah, 'cause
Ranka
they
and
didn't
attacking everything.
understand They thought that one of their own was being,
Right,
under
no, I'm
attack.
just saying that they didn't show up in peace. They literally showed up basically like the SWAT team. They kicked in the door, started attacking everything, and then went for Ranka, which apparently didn't. I don't understand how they went right for Ranka. If they were going right for Ranka, how Ranka got into a spaceship. Like, in space, by the way, to get ejected from another spaceship. Like, they
Yeah, I
weren't
think
going at
they were
Ranka
escaping.
too hard.
They were escaping.
Well, no,
from the
remember,
attack.
Ranka was on the planet when the Vajra showed up, and then we see
They launched.
the Macross.
They launched.
They launched 2
what
different
happened-
ships, by the way. Now, I'm saying that they were in the sky right above Ranka. So, if they were going for Ranka, they did a shit job of it because Ranka and family ran to a spaceship or a spaceport that was filling a ship up, got onto that ship, got into space, then the Vajra attacked that ship, and then they launched. Like, she goes through so many steps when the Vajra are literally in the sky right above her.
Yeah, but the ship, there was a fight, right? It wasn't just like they just landed.
No, they were in the middle of a field by themselves. Her brother,
yeah, no,
her,
but
and
when
her
the
mom.
Vajra show up, the UN, the nuns actually start fighting them.
There's nothing of that though. I'm saying that literally the scenes of the flashback we get are her singing in the field with her mother and Burra, whatever the fuck, the brother. Never getting his name right. And then it's literally them, maybe like, I don't know, 100 feet above her. And then the next shot is the Macross Global getting taken down. And the next shot is in space, seeing the other ship attacked with her brother telling her not to tell anybody that your song lured them here. So literally 100 feet up, couldn't get her. And then runs to a spaceport, I imagine, or space bikes her way or whatever. They were going right for Ranka. They failed horribly, implying to me that Ranka summoned them here and then they went buck wild on everything that they saw. I understand the song is about love and welcoming other things, not the representation we got by her memory.
So, I mean, I think her memories are pretty flawed as well. I mean,
no, because remember we got from Ozma that she's getting all of her memories back. But again, these are also the memories that she has. So even if you're saying they're flawed, like we're missing steps, yeah, we are missing steps. Like how she got from the field to the spaceport. But again, they're right above her.
And Osmo said that if he had fought harder, he would have been able to stop it. So clearly there was a fight.
Got no payoff on the whole, I think Ozma's her dad thing.
Because he isn't.
Once again, you say.
He isn't. He's not the dad.
You say.
Period.
I stated my evidence a long time. So you're deciding. I hate when you decide to argue with me long after the fact.
I mean, the reason why I didn't argue it is because it would have been kind of spoilery in a sense.
I mean, not really, because they never said anything. But again, I'm not encouraging you to possibly spoil anything. I'm just saying that I said Ozma looks a hell of a lot like the dad figure in that picture. He has the same facial features, the same like beard thing going on. He just looks like a skinnier Ozma. And then they don't cover anything about the dad ever again.
Yeah, no. And also, by the way, if he were the dad, why doesn't Barrera recognize him as his dad? He's the older brother. It's like, oh yeah, that's our dad.
Because Barrera has his own memory problems. Barrera doesn't even recognize her as his sister.
No,
not until the very end, and then she's the only one there. The only time it would matter if he got his memory back when he got into the knife fight with Ozma, but he didn't have his memory back then. All he knew was the song. I mean, if it happens in the movie where that guy shows up and Ozma's there, and he's like, "Wait a second, you look familiar," like that would be a thing. But in the show, there was never really an opportunity. They never cross paths again by the time he gets his memory back.
And why doesn't he tell, like, Kathy about it? It's like, yeah, the reason why I'm so protective of Ranka is that she's my daughter. You know, that would have solved a lot of problems.
Well, because probably he doesn't want to tell anybody anything, because of the element of back in the beginning when he says if you tell her anything, that she could go into a whole spiral, like a whole medical issue.
Yeah, but later on when she's gone and they're by themselves and they're literally taking refuge.
Oh, because they got more important shit to take care of, like the fact that the president's about to get assassinated. They're on the run from that. The element that Leon's going to try and do this whole thing with the fleet. Like, what do you want them to do? By the way, did I tell you? I'm actually Rika's dad. You know, what is this going to come up naturally?
I mean, at some point, I mean, literally there's a scene where they're sitting in front of a fire.
You and me watch like the high school romance stuff, like all that kind of anime stuff, where they're like one of the other girls who's like been in love with the main character the whole time growing up, and the main character finally admitted that he loved another girl, and then like they start getting together and they're like, just tell them, you gotta vocalize shit, let them know what's going on, because otherwise you're gonna be in trouble with that girl, with this girl. Just talk. And like that never happens in those shows, but you expect organically he's going to bring up something out of the blue that has nothing to do with the scene that he's in.
I mean, eventually I think he would have said something, because she eventually goes like, yeah, I understand. I didn't understand then that, because the whole problem between the two of them was that Ozma was dedicating too much time to protect Ranka, and that created she didn't let her into that, and it's like, okay, you're doing your thing.
It's like a dad protecting his daughter.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, the dude, he's like, the way he's protected is like a guy who failed in protecting the fleet, right? But the dude's going heavy out of his way just for feeling guilty, right? Like there's something else at play there. And again, the picture looks just like him.
I mean, we don't really see much of him anyway.
We see his face.
No, we don't. We see it's like there's a light across it. So
there's there's like this. I think you could pick me out of a crowd, Lessons. I'm not entirely like, if I went to rob a bank, I think I'd be fucked. Okay, I might as well like cover my face with lemon juice and call myself invisible.
I don't think he's a dad. No, he's not.
Yeah, I mean, literally, you saw in the picture. Again, your opinion. You saw 2 movies. You're not saying that they cover any of that in the movies. I think this is in the realm of fan theory. If they don't cover it, and they showed me a picture of a dude who looks just like him, unless the author says something, or it's in a novel, or in a video game, then I think it's free for interpretation.
Well.
I mean,
like I was
obviously,
saying,
I can't tell you that you're wrong. But I think, by the same token, you can't say that I'm 100% wrong because you don't know either.
I like the fact that the Vajra are basically misunderstood, and the Vajra misunderstand humanity, and that's why the whole thing happens, right? I also like the political angle as well. Like the real villains are the humanity, the bad guys are the humans in this case, right? Leon being a manipulative shit who thinks he's the real chess maker.
I will agree that Leon was a bad guy. Obviously,
I think
being
also
on
Grace
the
was a bad girl as well.
well, no,
I mean,
she obviously did. She did bad things. I'm not going to defend everything that Grace did, but ultimately, the goal of improving humanity should be humanity's goal.
Yeah, but that's her claim. She doesn't show any reason how it could that be other than I'm taking over. Yeah, I'm taking over. Oh, and how does that help anybody? I'm in charge. And
Okay, now you're just giving my argument from the beginning of the episode back to me.
exactly.
I mean,
There's
there's no show to say that she is going to dominate mankind because she's already an amalgamation of a bunch of all different voices. So kind of assumes that she's already sharing power within her own head. So the fact that she's already doing that kind of feels like it'd be different if it was like one person with only one mind doing one thing. But it feels like she's already an amalgamation of all of the galaxy people together, which is itself kind of like a shared node.
We don't know how many people are actually in control. I guess they do say that the galaxy is behind it. So probably the government of the galaxy is behind this. And she's an agent
actually,
of them.
remember, galaxy is more of a conglomeration sort of thing. Yeah. By conglomeration, I mean like business.
Yeah, so it could be business interests that are trying to use her.
I don't know. That doesn't seem like something a business would do. Like, what's the profit margin on controlling everyone? Because when you control everyone, there's no consumer left.
It could be that they're like, oh, this is going to improve humanity, and she's like, yeah, sure, let's. Like, she's the ultimate manipulator. It's like, yeah, sure, help me. I'm going to help humanity by getting control of everyone. Right? That's her thing, right?
Actually, I guess I'm going to make your argument for you because you always seem to miss the thing that I think would hit me over the head here. You remember when Leon goes to kill her, or Leon sends people to kill her? What they say?
And I mean, she slaughters them. She said something. Oh, there's only one room. Oh, she says there can only be one king.
Well, I think Leon sends that message to her, and she says, "I agree."
I agree.
So that might be the nail in that coffin. Unless, but then again, the fact that she's a multi-personality thing in one, like it feels like she's like a homunculus. If you use previous shows etymology, homunculus that is just representing all the people of the galaxy, by which I mean the ship, not the. Yeah. Although technically could in that one moment also be.
Yeah. Also. And the fact that she's going to conquer everybody, either die or submit, basically, it's
Well, because there's people like you out there who would like fight this, even if he didn't come after you. You'd be like, no, fuck you. I'm not gonna let you do this.
Oh yeah, we get good reason. We don't, I don't think totalitarianism is a good thing for anybody.
Again, you're determining what totalitarianism is without understanding how the control mechanism works. Like I said, a major point in transhumanism would be like the unconscious noosphere. Basically, everyone connected to the internet all the time, so all of our thoughts merge together, forming like the ultimate computer.
Yeah, and Gestalt, yes, yeah.
Well, no, it wouldn't be really Gestalt intelligence. So I'm using the word noosphere. It's a collective unconsciousness of all of humanity at once, and it's essentially what they're proposing here.
Yeah, I mean, people want to join. Now, I'm going to use the argument you use in Macross 7 about people volunteering to feed the Proto-Devlin. Like, if people want to volunteer...
remind me of the argument.
Okay, you were saying that I speculated for a long time that the way to solve the Vajra problem would have been have certain people who would volunteer to have their spiritual harvested, the Proto-Devlin, right? And so they would be fed. But since the feeding doesn't necessarily kill people, they would then use music to recover, which is ultimately actually what the plan was. That was what's his name plan from the very beginning. We're gonna
So I'm about to
use
say
this
Lord
weird,
Genome because I got Grimlock in
yeah,
my head.
Lord whatever, yeah. That was
Farquaad.
their plan, right? Yeah, but they wanted to do it to everybody, not just not just selected people. Right? They were not asking; they were taking. I think that's the difference. Like if you're asking, if the pro devling had asked, "Hey, listen, we have this need, and we're here, and we got stuck with the proto culture, and there was a war. Could you guys help us out?" It's like, okay, let's do that, right? Sure. If some people volunteer, okay. But what did they do? They capture people, torture them, kill a bunch of other people as well. They were going to enslave the entirety of Macross 7, essentially.
I mean, it
Or to
depends on
do
your
it.
definition of torture. I don't remember them torturing anybody unless
They were pretty in pain.
psychologically.
No, when they have the giant bubble thing, they were like,
I
they
think that
were
was a result of them
emaciated.
being attacked because they get immensely drained the moment that the attack happens, implying that they required the energy to shield themselves. So I don't
And
know.
then
That's
when
kind of
Basara, gets them healthy again, it's like, oh, I'm gonna drain them again. It's like,
yeah, because they were still attacking. It's like the attack is
Yeah.
an ongoing thing. It's just they're there, not like emaciated or anything like that, right? It's only when they get attacked that they immediately need all the energy from them. So assumedly, it's a
they can-
slow power drain beforehand.
Okay, if attacking was a problem, they could have sent a signal saying, because they've done it before. Listen, we need to talk.
Well, here's my
Right.
problem. You've got me on the back foot defending without letting me. Sorry, I'm not saying you're doing something. You're propositioning me, and all I'm doing is defending. The argument is that Macross 7 was poorly written because they are intelligent enemies with immense power, and I would argue that if you had displayed them as having like ravenous hunger or something that they couldn't be reasoned with because they were too hungry to be reasoned with, that would be a thing. Like I don't know, the Wraith from Atlantis we get mentioned during the show, or even Return of the Living Dead, where they're intelligent, but the pain of being dead is so much that they need the brains to get rid of the pain. Some element there could have been used to make them scarier, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a person you can reason with, but you're unable to reason with them because of their need is so great, and their need is for something you can't give up, because giving it up is your life, essentially. So better writing could have made them scarier, harder to deal with, but also easier to understand from the outside, the meta. So again, my problem isn't with how they're dealt with, it's that the writing wasn't good enough to handle what could have been.
Also, talking about Macross 7, because I think, although going back to a whole, and I think this is going to be my final ticket, we'll probably revisit all of this stuff in the movies after we see them. So if I have further thoughts, they'll go there. But I think that and I said this when I remember we were discussing about Macross, that when they take the archetypes, they take things and they kind of remix them, right? Every new show. I think Frontier was an attempt to sort of get back to what was there before Macross 7, because maybe the problem with Macross 7 is that they take everything to such an extreme level that they kind of break the bank, right? Like, you have Sound Force, you have these extremely powerful aliens that are kaijus with superpowers, basically, can take over people. And it's like, how do you, because one of the things about Macross is, yes, you have giant robots and faster light travel and giant anime aliens, but there was still a certain amount of grounding. And Macross 7 just went like, you know what, screw that. Let's get silly with the music, have these gigantic enemies and do that.
Amazing music in Macross 7.
Agree to disagree.
Okay, as long as you agree I hate the Macross Plus soundtrack, so
I've never said that otherwise.
All right, I guess I just got to be able to eat my own medicine.
And so, in many ways, Frontier was kind of like, okay, let's bring it back into control. Let's make it more about the people. Let's make an actual character. Even if Alto comes out as being dense, at least he has his own motivations that we understand. He makes mistakes. Yeah, he wants to follow. he's trapped between these two worlds, and particularly he takes over his mother's dream of like just flying and just being free. He's trapped in this family tradition that he doesn't want to follow, and he wants to become a pilot. The whole thing about the sky is really it's a metaphor for freeing himself from the life that he was living before.
It's just
Right.
it's the whole family thing when they start showing up that I don't understand Alto's motivations because of the family stuff. Oh, you're just acting, and it's like they keep showing up being like, well, everything's really acting if you think about it. It's like, well,
Yeah, but
fuck
that was
off.
his adopted brother who kept saying that he
Yeah,
didn't
but the
believe that. He
dad
was like,
supported that same shit. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
this is
well,
what you choose.
that-
This is your performance that you choose. It's like, what?
the dad was an asshole. I always told you that he was an asshole.
You don't need to.
Right?
You don't have to tell me when someone's an asshole. I can figure out when people are being an asshole. I
He's
hope.
like, oh, but I told you, I was like, well, we don't really know. It's like, no, the guy's an asshole.
Well,
And he
because
proved to be
you
an
were
asshole.
saying that. Look, this also comes off the legs of you calling Degwin a dictator, and it's like Degwin was the best of them. What are you talking about?
It was a dictator. He still established a monarchy, and absolute power, which is his eldest son was able to
hates the British.
subvert. Which allowed his eldest son to able to subvert it and essentially destroy everything that he
tore
professed to
down
love.
on his older son every chance he got, and then constantly
yet-
tried to make peace with the other side.
Actually, only twice as much. That's it. Not constantly.
3 times.
Just
He
twice.
tried 3 times.
No, he tried he tried to calm things down. Actually, no, it was Giran who said, no, we're not going to have peace.
Yeah, I
Because when
know.
they have that.
You don't have to say, no, it was Giran. You're the one pushing everything.
So only twice.
3
He had to.
times. At the very beginning, when they were doing the initial rebellion, he said, you've got to get them calmed down. This is going to lead to bloodshed and war. So we tried to stop the war before it even was a war.
and
He was
failed.
constantly trying to stop the bloodshed. It's his kids. Marty, it's got to do something about your kids. This is, yeah. So anyway, Degwin, not the worst guy that you painted him to be. So coming off the heels of those commentaries that we were doing, when you say this guy is bad, it's like, you just said something bad about Degwin, so you don't like old men. You used to have something against old white men.
That's gonna stay in that. I don't know if you're gonna edit that out, but that's been recorded. I'm just gonna warn you that's there.
Why?
Yeah.
I said it about you, and 2, it's
Yeah,
funny.
No. Yeah, well, yeah.
Unless you want to take it back, do you not have a thing against old white men?
I know not have a thing about
Double negatives? Cool. I think we all understand what
Yeah.
double negatives mean.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So like I was saying,
But my point about Alto, I was going back to Alto's nebulous goals, right? One, I always thought he was an idiot from the whole I want the infinite sky, but I don't like space. You know? The ultimate infinite sky. So even his actual goal didn't match his reality.
I mean, I think he wanted a place where he could live in, and that's what the whole sky thing is. Space is just hostile to him.
Yeah, but he
you
lives
can't
on a
do-
space station that he lives in space,
Yeah.
that he can fly the infinite skies. Also, you can do a lot more cool stuff in space than you can in an actual air environment.
I think the whole thing was
Alto doesn't know what the fuck he wants, was my ultimate answer.
I think he does.
He doesn't
gets
know in his love
ultimately-
life. He doesn't know what he wants professionally. He's still trying to figure out, because every time he gets asked, do you want to be a pilot or an actor? And somehow, even though he clearly wanted to be a pilot, his brother, or pseudo-brother, whatever the fuck he is, still managed to get him thrown off every time he asked, which means he's not really solid on if he still wants to be an actor or not.
Well, he didn't stay with when he got lured back by having Cheryl there. He didn't. He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to take Cheryl with me, and that's it."
Oh, you mean
We're
all that
leaving.
time that he spent back at his actor dad's house?
but
I don't know what's going on with me.
He never go back to acting. He didn't quit SMS. So, well, he did quit SMS, but stay in the Nuns. But that's
Or conversely, did he act like he wasn't quitting? See what I'm saying? This shit is impossible to deal with. That's what they're always about. Can you imagine doing
Anyway,
a
I
D&D
did
game like
like
that? By the
Alto.
way, I'm
I like
acting. I'm
Alto.
acting like a thief.
I like all the characters, especially because they were flawed. I'm more of a Cheryl Alto kind of guy myself, but that's
Of
just
course,
me.
they deserve each other. Like I said,
Yeah,
she's manipulative and he's an idiot. The best
and I also like,
combo.
and I also like the political intrigue as well. You know, the machinations.
Luca got
Leon.
off too easy. I'll take that one.
I don't know if I think Luca was
He
trying
was
to help.
in Leon's pocket the entire goddamn time. And then when Leon gets arrested, everyone's like, what about that little kid that's always been around him? What, you mean the one that supplied him with all the weapons of mass destruction? Yeah, probably that one. You mean the son of one of the richest companies around? Oh yeah, that guy? Yeah, let him go. His girlfriend's in the hospital. Let him go.
Did she wake up though? I think
No,
she
I
was
didn't
seen
think
as
so. I didn't see her wake up. I know he
No.
went running there. It's just,
Yeah.
he's guilty quite a lot, really. If you're not directly, then, association. He did supply them with all the weapons that they've done harm with. And, as I mentioned, seemed like he knew what was going on with the assassination.
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
I don't think it's a stretch, because, he was there when the conversation happened. Also,
I mean,
he was an ally to Grace, which can't be great in the post Fallout.
No, that's true.
Let him go. Girlfriend's in a coma. Let him go. It's like that rule about college. If your dorm room your dorm roommate dies, you get straight A's.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That was also
the one thing I didn't
for me.
like. No, going back is how they used what's her name,
Nanase.
Nanase. Like she was just a walking boob joke.
She wasn't though. You
She
kept
was.
focused. You were focused on it more than the show
Every
did.
time she showed up, it's like the camera would go like boom right there.
Is it her fault she got massive breasts? No,
It isn't her fault. She was drawn that way, but the camera could have just done something different with her than just like 80% of the time she goes in, there's an angle shot on her boobs. Like when
I
she
just
goes
remember
to talk to him,
early on, you kept blaming Luca for staring at her chest, and like, no shot did Luca ever stare at her chest. It was just
yes, he did. He
blamed her.
did.
And by the way,
I didn't
that's
blame
not
her.
the
I never
entire-
blame her.
That's not the entirety of her character. Clearly, she loved art and performance.
Well, she was Ranka's favorite, number one fan from the beginning, which is pretty
But
cool.
I mean, she was all constantly drawing. That's why we panned over to Ranka as a angel or something, because she had drawn it for her.
Yeah. But, and
Also,
Luca basically told
assumingly
her
she
what-
loved cooking, I assume. Otherwise, she was in the wrong job.
had Luca been able to tell her sooner how he felt,
Yeah, then
I
he
think-
might
I
not
think
have sided with the bad guys. Again,
So
I
I
don't
will
understand
follow
really
you.
how he got away with this.
yeah.
He can't keep getting away with this. I hope. God, what was the company name? I can't remember. I hope they show up in.
LAI.
I hope LAI
Yeah.
shows up in Delta so I can make that joke for realsies. You
Yeah.
can't keep getting away with it. Whatever the hell Delta's about. I guess actually that is my main sticking point with the end, is that they show it feels like I'm sorry for what I did, and then he got away. Because I mean, unabashedly, they did show him with Leon and Grace a lot. Like he was in the limo.
Okay, but at no point did they discuss their plans in front of him.
They discussed their plans, and he was there. So I assume.
Did they say, when they were talking about assassination, he wasn't there?
Okay, so you're just willing to assume that he's innocent of everything, even though
proven guilty.
weapons of mass destruction he's supplying them with. I don't know
Which
what these are for, but I'm willing to sign them off to any stranger, I guess.
I mean, no, he wasn't a stranger. He was the second in command, basically, of the entire fleet.
Yeah, but what about Grace? Because Grace is the one that wound up with it.
That, he should have been more careful with that.
That's all. All those deads and Trotty should have been more careful.
And a dead planet, too.
Well, the Centrati were the only ones there, so I think it really the only ones that matter. Well, the Centrati and the Vajra, but you're not counting the Vajra for some reason, even though all the weapons he supplied also got used against the Vajra, who you were like, oh, these peaceful, innocent creatures that Luca is basically Space Hitler for.
I mean, everybody thought that they were the bad guys. That's the thing, that there was a gigantic misunderstanding. And
I
there was a
said
lot
the
of
Vajra
suffering.
were probably innocent from the get-go.
No, not from the get-go.
Okay, not from episode 2 backwards.
Why did you say that?
Because they seem like space cockroaches. No one says like, oh, those evil cockroaches. They're just cockroaches. I've been calling them cockroaches since the beginning. I said it's dumb that they have a homeworld.
I mean, there were cockroaches that deserve to die, but if they're not, which they're not, yeah.
So you're angry because they are the most well evolved to live.
No, I just hate cockroaches. Period. Ugh.
Why? They're not even the worst of their kind. Palmetto bugs here, which are hostile and fly, but they look like roaches.
That would kill them too, probably.
Well, it's harder because one, they're hostile, which means they fly at you to attack you. Harder, like cockroaches climb up a wall, bam, hit it against the wall.
Oh,
We
cockroaches
dra-
fly too. Cockroaches actually fly too.
Well, no, palmetto. No, I don't think so.
Oh, I seen them fly.
Well, you might not have seen roach cockroaches though. There are variants. Like you said, palmetto bugs are a variant of cockroach, but it can fly. Cockroaches themselves, I don't think, fly. That's one of the main differences between a palmetto bug and a cockroach.
Either way, I would kill them both.
Well, there you go. You're the evil one.
Yes.
You're the villain. Because I'm assuming that people in Macross treat the Vajra like cockroaches. They just seem to be disgusted by them and put off to the degree that they want to eradicate them.
Until the cockroaches form a society and explain to me why I shouldn't kill them, then I would probably.
But the Vajra don't have an organized society where can explain to you why you shouldn't kill them.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of what happens.
You know who else doesn't? Kittens and puppies don't have an organized society that will explain to you why you shouldn't kill them. Oh, you know who else doesn't? Babies. Babies can't explain to you why you shouldn't kill them.
You know what? We're gonna have to stop there because I'm gonna have nightmares tonight.
Of what?
Yeah.
The things that you've done?
No, the images that I have probably in my head. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, this was Macross 25 episodes. I would say that a couple of episodes would have allowed them to inject a little more context, which is also kind of the problem with the ending. Feels very much rush. A lot of action, a lot of stuff is happening, and you're like, okay.
My problem here at the end is I can't remember what would have seemed like filler. Because I feel like there's certain storylines that required more time.
I think
like Grace,
the whole
for example.
Grace, because she seems to make this heel turn, like, oh, she's helping Cheryl, all of a sudden, I'm evil. You're like, okay.
Establishing that Ozma is her dad.
No, Ozma and what's her name? And
what happened to the dog?
Which dog?
They had a dog.
Oh, the corgi. Yeah.
That wasn't a corgi.
I mean, sure. It was a corgi, and it died.
I don't think it was a corgi at all. Are you talking about a different dog?
The dog that Ranka had as a little kid?
Yeah, that wasn't a corgi. It was bigger than a corgi. That was more like a... God, I can't even think of breeds right now. Smaller than a lab. I don't know. It's bigger than a corgi, though.
I thought it was a corgi.
In my head, I'm remembering maybe like a shepherd.
Small shepherd? Shepherds are big.
Yeah, but shepherds are well. It depends on
Australian shepherd,
and
Shetland dog.
Well, I used to have an Australian shepherd. I want to say larger than Australian shepherd. I'm thinking of Lassie in my head. Was what I'm thinking of.
Oh, that's now I know. Well, those actually can come small and large. So
right, but it wasn't as long. It wasn't a long hair like Lassie. And in my memory of what I'm remembering the dog looking like. Anyway, it was like maybe half the height of or as tall as Rankin was as a kid. Anyway, I think you could do something with that. Yeah. You know, last days of the global, or global's last days, something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's still, I mean, it's still one of my favorite series, even though it is flawed but then all of them are.
Okay. Before we wrap up here, this isn't going to be the official thing because obviously we'll do something official when we get to the chart where we're going to do plus and this because we forgot plus back in the day for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
How many shows have we done so far?
3 entire shows and 2 OVAs, and a couple of movies in between. So
okay, wait.
2 shows that are
Zero,
OVA format.
0 SDF. I'm not naming them all. I'm just giving you a list. 0 SDF Macross, Macross Plus, Macross 7, Macross Frontier.
That's it.
No, I'm not listing them. I'm giving you a list. 2 different things. Of those 5, top 3.
SCF Macross, plus Frontier. Yeah, those are.
Yeah, I'm saying there's 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, off the top of my head here. Macross 7, Macross 0. Ooh, wait, no, Macross 7. Oh, sorry, it's hard to put. Macross Frontier is up here. I just can't figure it out. Actually, until we get to the movies, until we get to the movies, Macross Frontier, Macross 7, Macross 0. The soundtrack really does a good job of carrying Macross 7 for me, but also, this might be unfair, but Mylene Beat, really, I did enjoy Mylene Beat. And I know that's well, because you're only thinking about the one thing, but I'm thinking about all the elements around it that still carried it, even despite the fact that you didn't like. And Dynamite 7 was just ass. But I really enjoyed reading Mylene Beat, and I really enjoyed talking about Mylene Beat, which is not something I usually get to do when it comes to manga. And the show had its flaws. Soundtrack really carried. But when it comes down to it, like, if these were 2 boxers in a ring, Frontier and 7, they kind of knock each other out, I feel like. Because they both ended kind of really the same way.
I like the overall action, the mech designs, the characters, and the music of Frontier more than 7.
Well, I mean, like, comparatively, God, what's the captain's name?
Which one? Max
Wilder. Wilder. If you take Wilder's big scene where he comes back in and talks down Leon versus Max's big scene of I'm going to sacrifice myself to fly this nuke in down their goddamn throats. Max every day. Also, Max is a legacy character. We got that. Max is the most effective legacy character we've ever gotten because Fulmo does shit all.
Okay. Put a pin on Wilder for the movies.
I'm comparing the shows.
No. I know.
I'm just explaining. I know I know what you're doing. I'm just explaining right now by my 1-for-1ing shit. Like,
okay.
I really feel like the approach, like the couple of episodes approaching the ice planet where we attack it, and then maybe not so much the final episode, is on par for what we got here at the very end of Frontier for me in enjoyment factor. Like, oh my god, they're all getting destroyed. This is our like trench run, if you will. And then Max is like, we've lost too many people. I'm going in. And he's carrying the nuke in, and he's going to like Independence Day. Like, we're all going down. They destroyed our ship now. We're stuck here. It was an immense, and near to the ending. The ending didn't quite land it, but I feel like I felt as much enjoyment from that as I did to the ending of Frontier. Right now, I haven't taken my notes, obviously, but and again, the soundtrack played better for me. Like, it'd be like comparing Frontier to Top Gun, right?
They have a lot of similarities, and I do like the soundtrack of I own.
Sorry, what I mean is like the emotion you get to the soundtrack while the thing is happening on screen, right? Like when Top Gun's happening, like the victory song. I can't do it on my mouth, but yeah, when that's playing and they're like landing, and everyone's high-fiving and shit, and it's like, yeah, I feel it. And then when this is happening and they're like, is he landing or is he going to fly away? You know, there's like different feels, and I think Top Gun beats Frontier for like music to action on screen.
True.
And I feel like Macross 7 is in the vein of Top Gun in that it's a soundtrack that elicits the feel from me because it's my kind of music. I'm not saying, obviously, if you don't like that kind of music, as you're saying, it's not
well, I don't. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that it never.
Never hits for you.
Never hit for me.
That's what I'm saying. If it's not your thing, then I can't blame you for it not hitting the same way. The same way that Frontier, I'm not saying it's bad music. It's not even that it doesn't hit for me. I enjoy Frontier's music, but Frontier's music for me is like pop, whereas I'm a rock and roll guy. So Macross 7 is rock and roll. It's like my brand. You know, it's my thing. So it automatically earns points where if it was a different genre of music or anything else, it would automatically just fall down the trail. But it hit me right where it needed to hit me.
Yeah. I can see that.
All right.
Oh, here in this situation, yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, as much as I mock Macross Plus, I gotta let you get your hits in on the Macross 7 if it's not your thing. But the difference is that I'm a lot harsher on Macross Plus because I don't hear music there. Too used to play the xylophone as a kid.
So this has been Macross Frontier, the series. We still have 2 movies, like 3 movies. 2
movies, an OVA, and a bunch of extra special content.
Yeah.
All listed. And again, if you guys know something you think we might have missed, Frontier-wise, or anything else Macross, I guess, except for Delta, which we'll get to. When we get to Delta, let us know in the comments. We want to be very completionist about this. We won't want to end the series with anything missing. So, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?